the Dynamite Delight, the 3-year anniversary of Dynamite. Yes, this is the Dynamite anniversary show before Double or Nothing. Now, was this a good show? It had its issues. It seemed to be very botchy for most people. Chris Jericho seemed to botch. CM Punk seemed to botch. There was a botch between Britt Baker and Toni Storm where she broke her nose, maybe, or at least got a bloody nose. Everything seemed to be a bit more botchy during the show, and you wonder what in the heck's going on. Now, I'm not saying the show was bad, but I am going to point it out. I will not be heavily detailed in this, and I'm not going to put no images in it. I'm going to just upload this. But I will say, the show was okay, but it really felt like something was off. Now, Wardlow versus Shawn Spears with AMJF as ref. The booing was good. The booing was great for an MJF. The way the match was structured was fine. Wardlow went into the ring, went into the steel cage while still handcuffed. Did not get those handcuffs off. MJF did not want to do it, and he and Spears proceeded to beat the living crap out of a Wardlow until Wardlow gets the one-upping on it, and then eventually gets so pissed off that he cannot get his hands on MJF after he has hit him, kicked him, nutshotted him, spit him in the face, and tried to get him to do something. He eventually breaks his handcuffs. Now, is this good TV? For most people, they will say it's way too freaking corny. It's way too corny. He's not the Ultimate Warrior because the Ultimate Warrior could do something like that. And yes, he's not the Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior is Ultimate Warrior. He feels like the only person that could do a stunt like that. But Wardlow doing it makes sense. He's supposed to be a total beast. You got to do something with him. If there's no Brian Cage, who legitimately looks like he could actually do it in real life, break those damn handcuffs because the guy is so freaking jacked, even bigger than Wardlow, he's not there. It's going to be Wardlow, so this is what we got. In the end, we get a new ref in, and Shawn Spears gets destroyed with the symphony of powerbombs. Now, the thing that got me a little worried was not how MJF ran out while he was already sprawled out after he got the chair shot to the skull. That was not the problem. The problem was security. When MJF was clearly done, and then once Wardlow won, he started running away, which just shows that he should have been a little more dizzier when he left because he kind of was not acting dizzy. The thing that got me a little worried was one of the security guys was grabbed and was buckle bombed into the steel cage. And not only did he hit the cage and then hit the mat and then hit the side rail of the ring and the 2x4s as well as all the metal, he falls in between the ring and the steel cage and goes splat. I was worried at that point. That's got to hurt. I don't care who you are. Even if you try to set it up as best as you can to try and protect the person doing it, that mess, whether it was an accident by Wardlow, because he didn't probably expect him to fall down in between the ring and the steel cage, or it was stunted on purpose, that was dangerous because he could have actually gotten pretty badly injured with that. That's just me. I was a little worried. Now, the next match, Moxley and Eddie versus Private Party. Now, I got to say this about Private Party. Quinn and Cassidy look way better than they did 3 years ago. They looked like they didn't leave Hog. In other words, House of Glory. They looked like House of Glory. They never changed their stick from the very beginnings they went into AEW. Now you can see the difference what 3 years has made for Cassidy and Quinn. They feel more substantial. Yes, their clothes are not 100% different than what they wore, but their personality is different. They've been heels for a while. They feel more comfortable in themselves and on television because when they first were there, they were the subsequent heels. No, not heels, but faces. And they just felt very generic. And that was a problem for me. They were very generic. They needed to change. They needed to change the ring attire to go with the new persona they were doing as faces that switched over to heels, that now they're on their own, no more Hardy Party. They were destroyed. And the subsequent fight afterward with the JAs, let me give it to you like this. Seeing the Jericho Appreciation Society, and particularly Jericho flaming someone's face that was wearing a Moxley shirt, it was good to see because they're doing something different. And I will say that, yes, you can feel the difference of how the JAS was compared to where it was beginning. Now, is it a great difference? No. They were here. They slightly come up to about here. It's not like they're here. They're here. They went from here to here. That's just me. Now, I'm not saying that the feud is bad. I'm not saying what's going on with Kingston, Ortiz, Santana, and the BPCC. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying it's garbage. But I am saying at least they are giving some... I know a lot of people are not going to be fond of this. A lot of people are going to say this is a rehashing what happened with Inner Circle, dealing with the Pinnacle, or whatever you want to say. Many people will say that. The Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle, and whenever you see it like that, you're going to say, it's a repeat. And we know it's a repeat. But is it a well done repeat? That's the question. I say it's mostly well done. Not saying it's perfect and it'll make you forget about what happened beforehand, but at least it is something special. And I'm hoping beyond anything Eddie gets over enough that they allow him to go after the TNT title. Now, we did get a little bit of the Men of the Year. And hearing that now, that the Dan Lambert has gotten a new title for a Scorpio Sky, and that just because his title was destroyed does not mean he's going to get a title shot. So, I'm sorry if you hear some music. But honestly, it's like, why? I don't know, that this feud feels off for me personally. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's good to see, in a sense, that Sammy and Ty are more heels than anything else, even though they're not. Because the way they're booking it, it looks like they're the good guys, and the top team and the Men of the Year are the bad guys when they're not. They're actually swapped. But it doesn't feel swapped. And it should. The Men of the Year should feel like faces. And in a sense, they do. But then they're not booked like faces. And that's the thing. And then you see Sammy, you see Ty Conchi, and they should be heels. They were acting heelish. They just destroyed the damn TNT title. And that means they should be heels, but they're supposed to be the faces. Along with, what do we got there? We got now Frankie Kazarian possibly being with them, where he should be a heel now, but he's not. So it doesn't feel right. It feels off for me personally. Maybe it's all right for everybody else, but for me it's off. Now, the talk between Hangman Page and CM Punk was not bad. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't bad either. Now, I think the thing that seems to be off for me was that CM Punk seemed to be botchy a little bit. He was. It's rare to see a CM Punk botch. And him saying that the road that you've done, I paved. The dudes you had to pay, I paid them first. The problem you have, is not with me, but it's with me. And that's what he said. It's not with me, but it's with me. He wanted to say it's in himself to Hangman Page, but he said me to it's me. And he botched a couple of times while he was with Tony Schiavone. It felt choppy. So it's like, what the heck's going on? And that even happened with Thunder Rosa, who I'll get to in a moment. But it felt choppy. Now, Hangman Page did recover a little bit from it, and CM Punk did get a good cold cock by a little bit of the Hangman Page. But it felt choppy. And I'm sure some people will say something about it, and other people will say it's perfect or they didn't like it. But it felt choppy. Now let's go to Thunder Rosa. She looked fine in her red hat and her clothes. She spoke all right. But you know what messed me up? You know what messed me up? She wasn't finished with her promo and they started playing the music. So that means they were rushing through most of this show. And you could feel it. That's the reason why the Warlow match with Spears kind of felt very short, because it was. It was what, maybe 8 or 9 minutes? Maybe 10? But it felt between 8 to 10 minutes, and it should have been a little bit longer. They should have let it marinate with the crowd, but it didn't. This show was so heavily packed. Everything felt rushed. Even Thunder Rosa tried to get her promo out, and she's not a great promo, but let's be honest. As a promoist, doing her mic work, she's not one of the best. She isn't. She's a bit slow. She's not that great at it. And when it came to this situation, look what happened. She was almost finished, and then her music hit, and she had to start talking over it. And that was sloppy. That was sloppy on her part. That was sloppy about Tony Khan and the people in the back. Miscommunication that either Thunder Rosa didn't realize how much time she had, or Tony might have jumped the gun and started doing her music because he wanted to go to the next segment, and she was going to finish it no matter what. So it looked sloppy. I'm just saying. Now, the ROH tag titles. And that I felt was the best match of the night between FTR and Rocky as well as Trent. Now, what was it? Pocky Vice, I believe they were called. I can't remember it. It was a fine match. I actually liked it. Now, when it came to the, what was it again? What were they called again? The United Empire. Interesting. Seeing a little bit of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Good. They're supposed to be working together. And they did elaborate on commentary what was going on. I liked that. It was very important to do that. If they're going to do the Forbidden Door in June, they got to do more New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I'm glad to have seen it. And they threw the match out. Now, many people are not going to like that. I know they're not going to like that. A lot of people are going to say it's not fair that they had to throw it out. Particularly that they could have done this match on the pay-per-view, which I do agree with. But if you're going to be saving this because you believed it was important, I understand it. But I will agree with most people. They should have never done the match. It should have been left for the pay-per-view. Because if United Empire is showing his ass off, why in the blue fuck would you do this on the damn show that's already heavily packed as it was? It's kind of understandable you want to make it important. But you should have saved the match for the pay-per-view. You should have. Because then United Empire would have felt more substantial instead of just, yes, this is an anniversary show, but it should have been left. Next. Swerve Strickland versus Jungle Boy versus a Ricky Starks. Not for the FTW title, which I think it should have been. Now, I don't remember it being it, but it should have been. Now, was it a bad match? No. Swerve won the match. And I gotta say this. I will say this. This match, when it came to Swerve, particularly the way he did the flip, was nice. I still am not fond of Swerve Strickland. Now, will I say he did a bad job in this match? No. But I can see 100% that most of that match he was not selling very well. Or he wasn't wanting to sell very well. That's just me. I don't hate the guy. He's very talented. He's a good high flyer. But still, there's a difference between being a good high flyer and getting your spots in and making yourself look great compared to being a good high flyer, getting your spots in, and also making your opponent look fucking good. If your opponent doesn't look good, what is the damn point? What is the point? If your opponent doesn't look good, you don't look good. You're supposed to balance this shit out. And the one that looked the best, guess who? Ricky Starks looked the best. Now, he was not the best high flyer. If it wasn't Swerve, it's going to be Jungle Boy. But Ricky Stark looked better than both of them. And shouldn't have been about Swerve looking the best. That means Swerve had to at least make sure that he looked good, putting his marks in and getting his shit in, but also making sure Ricky and Jungle Boy looked good as well. And he didn't do it. Ricky and Jungle Boy made themselves look good together. Not with Swerve. Swerve looked good doing his moves, but Swerve didn't look good selling for everybody. I'm just saying. I don't hate him, but he needs to work on selling more because it's way too bad for me. Now, the last two matches, and I know I'm missing something. I'll be missing something, and I'm sorry, but I'm moving on. We got the first match, Britt Baker versus a Toni Storm, where Toni possibly broke her nose or just has a bloody nose. I don't know which one it is. But that match was good. It wasn't bad. It was good. But seeing that Toni got a nose busted and bleeding, it just makes you wonder what the hell. And worse yet, there was so many commercials during this show with so much stuff packed in. Seeing picture in picture took away some of the enjoyment for me personally. It wasn't a bad match. And in the end, what did we get? We got Jamie Hager coming out, arguing with Britt about what's going on with Toni. And then eventually, Britt having to cheat to beat Toni. Where I think she didn't need to cheat, to be honest. Yeah, she's a heel. She's supposed to do whatever she's got to do. But honestly, I don't think she needed to cheat in this situation. I truly believe that Britt could have just beat her flat out. Or maybe Jamie Hager could have pissed her off enough that now she is going to have a really strong beef with a Jamie Hager. That she could have bothered her or interfered or whacked her in the face. I'm just saying. Finally, Samoa Joe versus Kyle O'Reilly. The last match of the night for the ROH TV title, just like the ROH tag titles, which I kind of still believe they should have been on the pay-per-view. This is again a mistake that Tony Khan has made. He did that with a Deonna Purrazzo and a Mercedes Martinez. He should have saved that for a pay-per-view. This one, he should have saved for a damn pay-per-view. He should have, but he didn't. So, what do we get here? Was it a bad match? No. And it needed more time. Now, mind you, you saw Samoa Joe and Kyle O'Reilly beat the snot out of each other, and they were tired by the end of it. They were not playing around. They were going full bore. And the story about Joe's arm being messed up, good. Wasn't bad. But you could tell they needed more time. And no matter if they did a 1-minute overrun, it wasn't enough. They needed like an 8-minute overrun for me personally. This is the same things that what they've been doing lately. They have these special matches at the end of the show, but they barely do an overrun or they don't do an overrun. And instead of saying, ladies and gentlemen, we have to switch off, go to YouTube and watch the rest of this match. They don't. And that's where the mistake is made. Where people should be told that we are continuing this match on YouTube. Get the streaming service ready. Get it ready to switch over. And then let people watch it. If you cannot get the overrun time, switch it to freaking YouTube. Because that's where they put Elevation. That's where they put Dark. Why not? But it's just me. I don't know. I just feel like it needed more time. In the end, Joe did win. And then you got the Adam Cole, baby. Come on, Adam Cole comes out and says, Adam Cole, baby. And Joe's waiting for him to come in the ring. And he doesn't. They cut off by there. Now, was this a good show? It wasn't bad. But there was a lot of weirdness in that show. The first match needed more time. The last match needed more time. Toni Storm got a bloody nose or broken nose. You basically got I don't know what it was when it came to CM Punk botching. I rarely see CM Punk botch. And this day, he botched in the very beginning of his promos. some of it in the middle, at least one in the middle, and then he was fumbling over his words in the end. What the hell is going on? The match for the calm down. The match for the All 8 tag titles, just like the TV title, should have been thrown onto the pay-per-view, but wasn't. They needed to do something special with United Empire and make it mean something so people will know United Empire is part of New Japan Pro Wrestling. They're not going to be seeing until June, and that is important. Yes, they want the tag titles. Why don't you make it mean something? I don't know. But it's just me, and I hope you enjoyed the Zane View. Please give me a comment below. Hope you enjoy this. Peace.